So God did exactly what he needed to do to work in Joseph's life. But please hear me, the dream is not the destiny. The dream is just to get you started on your character test. Genesis 41:46, Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So he's 17 and then he's 30. And I want to tell you again, these tests, by the way, some of these tests are going to be after he's 30, some all the way up to when he's 45 years old. So they continue, and they continue the rest of your life. I promise you, please, please, please hear me. We take tests because our character is the foundation for our destiny. You will never have a larger destiny than your character. Never. All right, so here's number one, first point. God has a dream for you. The first thing you need to know is God has a dream for you. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you. In other words, God has a plan for your life, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. God has a dream and a plan for everyone. He has a plan for your life. He has a plan for you. And I want you to know that God's dream is bigger and better for your life than your dream is. I promise you. Now, I could back that up with over 100 scriptures. That's easy to back up. But I'll just back it up with a truth that you can't argue with. The reason God's dream is bigger and better for you than your dream is because God is bigger and better than you. And that's just a simple fact of theology. God's bigger and he's better than you. So his dream for you is bigger and better than yours if you'll just get out of the way and let him do what he wants to do. He can do it. So God has a plan for every person. Joseph's dream was from God. God gave him these dreams, but he gave him these dreams to prepare him for his destiny. Now, this is the only test out of the 10 that I think Joseph failed. Actually, let me rephrase that. Just to show you something, okay? God is so gracious, you actually never fail a test with God. He is so gracious that you just take it over and over and over again until you pass it. So you can move to another city, you can go to another church. If you get mad at me, whatever, I'm just telling you, you're still going to take the same test until you pass it. God, he never puts F at the top of your paper. I saw lots of F's, on my papers growing up. But God never puts an F. He just puts retake. And so you're going to take it. So Joseph does this. But here's what I think about this. This is the pride test. God gives him a dream. And I'm telling you, God has a dream for you. But how can you know God's dream? Well, let me show you a scripture. Numbers 12, verse 6. This is talking about, God is talking about Moses. Then he said, hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly. And we just, after Pastor Josh's series, we realized that was Jesus talking. And I thought, wow, what a great, Jesus before Christ. What a great thing to show us Jesus in the Old Testament. Okay, but Moses, God said, I speak to others through dreams and visions, but I speak to Moses face to face. Okay, but we know again from that series, that was Jesus. Listen to me, Jesus would like to talk to you face to face. He wants to get to know you. If you want to get to know, here it is. You say, how can I know God's dream for my life? If you want to get to know God's dream for your life, get to know God. Because he's the one that knows it. Here's another one of my favorite scriptures. Psalm 103, verse 7. He made known his ways to Moses, his acts to the children of Israel. Now, I don't know if you see the difference, but there's a big difference there. The children of Israel knew what God did, like parting the Red Sea and things like that. Moses knew why he did it. They knew his acts. Moses knew his ways. He knew him as a person. Get to know the one who can reveal and fulfill your dream. And that's God. Now, not every dream we have is from God. And I'm going to use an example, okay? So all the campuses, all the gatherings, you know, everyone watching, all the prison campuses, everyone, okay? The first, I'm going to say, how many of you men are over 40, but don't raise your hand yet, okay? But how many of you men are over 40 and you played football in school, either high school or college? Would you put your hand up? Okay, listen to me, guys. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to call. You can give up on that dream, okay? Now, possibly, if you've already played in the NFL 20 years and you're in great shape, they might. But if you haven't and you're in normal 40-year-old shape, they're not going to call, okay? So, all right. But God does have a dream for you. Here's number 2. Don't brag about it. This is how you pass the pride test. Don't brag about it. Joseph's dream was from God, but his bragging about it was not from God. Here's something that's really amazing to me. Have you ever wondered why God gave him this dream? By the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but his dream wasn't his destiny. His destiny was to feed multitudes of people. But when you're talking to a 17-year-old, that might not get him excited. But his brothers who hate him, bowing down to him, might get him excited. Why would God give him these 2 dreams? You know why? Because God knew pride was in his heart. And he knew he'd brag about it, and his bragging about it would get him thrown in the pit, which is next week's test. And some of your bragging has gotten you in some pits. And some of my bragging has gotten me in some pits. Some of our mistakes. So God did exactly what he needed to do to work in Joseph's life. But please hear me, the dream is not the destiny. The dream is just to get you started on your character test. God knows exactly what kind of dream he needs to give you to get you to start passing these tests. One of the tests is the prison test. And I just really felt strongly to say, because, you know, we're in 450 prisons, 45 states. But I just wanted to say to every man and woman in prison, you have not forfeited your destiny. You've not forfeited. And the reason is God knew you before you were born. So he knew you'd make some mistakes. But you still have a destiny from God. And not only do you have a destiny from God, here's what else I like to say. You have a family, and that's called Gateway Church. You are part of our family. You're part of our family. Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Robert, and thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. Be sure to share what God is teaching you in the comments below so that it might encourage others. And click the subscribe button and then tap the bell icon so that you'll be notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget, you can watch full episodes anytime right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching.